Great. Thank you again for your time this morning. Truly appreciate it. We will be discussing today the second cohort of the GLEAM grant, which stands for Growing Literacy Equity Across Massachusetts, what the grant entails, the process for applying, and what you can expect in the immediate future. So our objectives for today are to share the GLEAM Cohort 2 vision, goals, and programming, articulate the expectations for a high-quality proposal, share opportunities for technical assistance, resources, and opportunities while you apply, and answer your questions. So when you have questions that arise, please feel free to pop them into the chat. We will get to them during our Q&A session towards the end of our time together today. We'll start with explaining the GLEAM program in a general way before looking at the different options for programming. We have two programs for GLEAM, the pre-K through 12 program and the preschool only program. Then we will talk about how to apply for cohort 2 before moving on to technical support and question and answers. First, does your district or charter have at least one school in which the percentage of students identified as low income is 50% or greater? Or have at least one high school in which the students identified as low income is 40% or greater? Then you are eligible to apply for GLEAM. GLEAM is the Massachusetts program name for the Federal Comprehensive Literacy State Development Grant. This federal grant is the comprehensive literacy program intended to advance literacy skills for all students from birth through grade 12 with an emphasis on historically underserved students. In Massachusetts, the Comprehensive Literacy State Development Grant takes the name of GLEAM, Growing Literacy Equity Across Massachusetts. The purpose of GLEAM is to develop and strengthen high-quality multi-tiered systems of support for literacy through professional learning, consultant support, the selection and implementation of high-quality core screening and intervention materials, increased access to high-quality preschool seats, and a focus on evidence-based, equitable, and culturally responsive instructional practices. The GLEAM program consists of two cohorts. The first cohort is underway as we speak. The second cohort was just recently released a few days ago, and that is what we are here to discuss today. When applying to GLEAM, you have a few options. You can apply for one of two grade bands, either pre-K through 5 or 6 through 12. And that can include any subset of grades within that grade band. So maybe you want to focus on just grades K to 2. Maybe you want to focus on pre-K through 5. It is entirely up to you. There is also a separate preschool only program grant that we will speak about a little bit later on. Additionally, and we will dive into this in more depth in a few minutes, there are two tracks. The first track are for districts that do not have high quality core curricular materials in place for ELA and literacy. And the second track is for districts with high quality core curricular materials in place. Let's start with looking at the pre-K through 12 GLEAM program. As I said, GLEAM is intended to support the strengthening and bolstering of a high quality multi-tiered system of support for all students. The GLEAM program is designed around tiered instruction and provides districts the opportunity to focus on specific tiers as they examine their multi-tiered system of support for literacy and ensure all students have what they need in order to succeed. For more information on DESE's multi-tiered system of support blueprint, I encourage you to access this page, the address of which is at the top of this slide, to get more details and information. Let's start with understanding the tracks in a little bit more depth. So if you're applying for the pre-K through 12 program, you'll have to select either track 1 or track 2. Track 1 is intended to strengthen tier 1 core instruction for all students and is intended for districts that do not yet have high quality core curricular materials. Track 2 is intended to strengthen tiers 2 and 3 programming with high quality core curricular materials already in place at the tier 1 level. If you are applying to include pre-K in your GLEAM grant, we understand that pre-K is a bit of a different world when it comes to curricular materials. And as such, you should make your track selection based on what is in place in grades K to 5. Regardless of which track you select, grantees who are choosing to include pre-K in their grant will be able to participate in a preschool specific curriculum review. Now, how do we identify what high quality means? So for the purposes of this grant, districts may apply to track 2 if they have high quality core curricular materials in place for ELA and literacy. That is defined as core curricular materials that are rated meets or partially meets expectations on Curate, or if a Curate review is not available. The materials are rated green in Gateways 1 and 2 on Ed Reports. If you look at the top of this slide here, you will see the address for how to access the Curate reviews for your analysis of what is in place in your district. Regardless of track, districts will have to adhere to a financial commitment. So the GLEAM grant will cover up to 50% of the cost of the purchase of Tier 1 core curricular materials for track 1. The district is responsible for covering the remaining costs. Additionally, for track 2, the grant will cover 50% of the cost of the procurement of tiers 2 and 3 instructional materials. You will note that those applying to pre-K through 5 will receive funding to purchase an approved screener if one is not already in place, and professional development for that screener. So let's talk about what the GLEAM grant will actually look like. We intend to start the GLEAM grant around February or March 2023. The first activities that will take place are a systems analysis in which each district will be matched with an expert literacy consultant who will support the district with analyzing the systems and structures in place and the systems and structures in need of strengthening to ensure that long-term programmatic literacy improvements can be sustained over time. Additionally, the GLEAM district lead will receive leadership coaching and development from the consultant to support them in establishing a diverse GLEAM leadership team comprised of educators and stakeholders across the district who will be responsible for leading this work through FY24 and FY25. In FY24, or an easier way to think of it, the 23-24 school year, Track 1 districts will participate in the Evaluating and Selecting network, in which they will evaluate and select high-quality instructional materials for their grade band. The Track 2 districts, in conjunction with their consultant, will complete a literacy needs assessment and develop an MTSS literacy action plan. The literacy needs assessment is more highly focused on academics, ELA, and literacy than the systems analysis that takes place in FY23. Additionally, those districts focusing on the pre-K through 5 grade band will be able to select and implement a literacy assessment, and all districts will be able to purchase their materials that they select towards the end of the 23-24 school year. In the next school year, districts will receive funding for professional development to implement their materials, and will develop an implementation plan with their consultant in which the implementation of materials will be regularly monitored and they will receive ongoing support. To dive a little bit more deeply into the activities you can expect, I have included here a little bit more information about the systems analysis and leadership development portions of FY23, which will be approximately from February 2023 to August 2023. I will give you a moment to briefly read this slide before jumping to the next one. For those of you just joining us, welcome. This is being recorded so that you will be able to access the information shared earlier. If questions arise, please put them into the chat and we will get to them during the Q&A portion of the info session. As I said earlier, in FY24, Track 1 districts will evaluate and select materials, be able to implement a screening assessment, and purchase and launch the materials so that the new materials will be able to be fully implemented at the school levels in the 24-25 school year. Track 2 districts, like I said, will complete a comprehensive literacy needs assessment with their consultant and develop a comprehensive MTSS literacy action plan and identify what materials may be needed to support tiers 2 and 3 instruction so that all students can be successful in the literacy classroom. And finally, In the last year of GLEAM, all districts will receive funding for professional development to implement the materials they have selected and will continue to receive support from their consultant. Speaking of consultants, each district throughout the 2.5 years of GLEAM will be matched with an expert literacy consultant who will provide on-site support individualized to the needs of your district and school. Additionally, each grantee will be able to name a building-based literacy leader who will attend professional development organized and sponsored by DESE in FY24 and FY25. Now let's briefly discuss the GLEAM preschool program. Although districts have the option to include pre-K district classrooms in their pre-K through 5 grant, the GLEAM preschool program extends that information to community-based partners that provide early education for students in the community. So again, the GLEAM preschool program is part of the Federal Comprehensive Literacy State Development Grant and ensures there's access to high-quality preschool seats in both district classrooms and EEC licensed community partners. What this will look like in the GLEAM program is the evaluation and selection of high-quality curricular materials, screeners, and assessments, professional development for district and community-based educators, and customized support for preschool leaders and educators to address and redress disproportionate outcomes and experiences for historically underserved students. The GLEAM preschool program provides a very unique opportunity for districts to develop, identify, and strengthen relationships with EEC licensed community partners who provide preschool programming for students in the community. These partnerships will be identified in support with the consultant, and the entire community will go through a community assessment, which I will explain in just a moment. The GLEAM program really focuses on the mixed delivery system of early childhood care and education, in which students receive support, education, and care through a variety of public and private funded organizations, which may include district classrooms, Head Start, family and center-based childcare programs, etc. The GLEAM preschool program has 3 main components: curriculum and instruction, assessment and database decision-making, and professional learning and customized support. We will dive into these activities more deeply in just a moment. For those districts selecting the preschool-only GLEAM grant, in FY23, which we anticipate will run between February 2023 through August 2023, you too will complete a systems analysis. This systems analysis will be a broad, community-based analysis of the current state of early education and care in your community, both in district classrooms and in other EEC licensed community programs supporting students in your community. Again, the district leader will receive leadership coaching and development in order to establish a diverse GLEAM leadership team at the preschool level that will include district and community partner educators and will be the primary group ensuring the work moves forward. In the 23-24 school year, districts participating in the GLEAM preschool will complete an EEC curriculum rubric review of their current curricular materials or curricular materials they may be interested in exploring. This review will result in the selection of curricular materials at the preschool level, which districts will be able to purchase along with an early literacy screening assessment in the 23-24 school year. Unlike GLEAM pre-K through 12, 100% of the cost of the preschool-only curricular materials and assessments will be covered by the grant. In the 24-25 school year, districts will receive ongoing professional support and customized, individualized support from the consultant to implement new materials and ensure all educators are able to not only support our earliest learners, but are able to implement the new materials and assessments that have been selected. Now let's talk about what it looks like to apply for cohort 2. A high quality proposal for cohort 2 will do a few things. It will articulate a clear approach to building and sustaining multi-tiered system of support for literacy. It will demonstrate that the district has favorable conditions and the resources necessary to make and sustain meaningful literacy program improvements. And it will bring together a diverse group of stakeholders. GLEAM is intended to be a long-term district-wide initiative, not one that is top-down. Thus, it is important that all stakeholders are involved in understanding GLEAM and what it means for your community from the very beginning of developing your proposal. A collaborative process is essential to ensure that the GLEAM proposal is the highest quality it can be and that the district is set up for success right from the beginning to launch GLEAM activities. There are 5 different components you will need to complete in order to apply for GLEAM. The first is a general program unit signature page, which you can submit as either a Word document or PDF. The second are budget details for the 3 years of GLEAM, FY23, FY24, and FY25. This may sound daunting, I understand. For those who have done budgets in the past, I promise we have made it very easy. There is a workbook that does a lot of the calculations for you, as well as a video to guide you through how to complete the budget. Next is the required program information, which we will dive deeply into in just a moment, and a schools and district assurance page. Pages 1, 4, and 5 do require signatures. We do ask that the signatures be wet signatures, as digital signatures are not accepted. For those interested in applying for the preschool only program, you will complete these forms for Fund Code 508. For the districts intended to apply to the pre-K through 5 program, you will complete for Fund Code 509. And for districts applying for grade band 6 through 12, you will complete Fund Code 510. The applications for GLEAM Cohort 2 are due on Monday, December 12th, and should be emailed to gleam@mass.gov. Now let's talk about the opportunities you have for support throughout the next 6 weeks of the application process. First, a comprehensive updated Q&A document will be posted on the GLEAM website. These questions reflect the questions that we receive either via email or in other avenues, such as our office hours or this information session. Additionally, there is a comprehensive GLEAM application video series that has been posted to the GLEAM website. This video series, which is hosted by me, is a 10 video series that guides you through each component of the GLEAM application and provides considerations for you and your team as you work to develop your collaborative proposal for GLEAM Cohort 2. Additionally, on the GLEAM website, you will find a registration form for office hours. Every Monday from 3 o'clock to 4 o'clock p.m., you are welcome to join office hours at any point during that hour if you would like a quick question answered, have some thoughts you would like to share, or would like to learn more about the program. This is a screen grab from the GLEAM video series, which again, you can find on the GLEAM website. As you can see, there are multiple videos to guide you through the program, as well as a video for each component of Part 3 of the application. These videos provide much more in-depth information about how to select a track, a grade band, and how to ensure that the proposal you are developing is high quality and collaborative. Thank you for listening to me for the past 20 minutes. We will now be taking questions. You are free to either come off mute, or enter your questions into the chat. I see as I've been talking, the chat has been filled with some questions, so I will start with those. So a question we received: we are currently going through the Evaluate Select process and are participating in the current cohort of the DESE Implement Network. We will be applying for Track 1 to help fund the purchase of new HQIM for next school year. Will it be okay that we are already going through the Evaluate and Select process? That's a great question. So for those districts who are currently going through the evaluating and selecting process and would like to apply to Track 1 for financial support, you are more than welcome to. However, there is a caveat that the funding for HQIM will not become available until October 2023. The federal fiscal year is an October start date. We have to follow that because this is a federal grant. So if your district is able to wait until after October 2023 to purchase the materials, then you are welcome to apply for track 1 and get the funding to help support that, keeping in mind that the grant funds at most 50% of the cost. This would obviously mean that the first month of school would not include these materials, and we understand that that is a difficult decision for districts to make. If you'd like to talk in more depth about this decision and how it could possibly work for your district, I recommend either emailing me or coming to the office hours so we can have a more personal one-on-one about your specific district options. Our next question is, could you highlight the difference between the CPPI EEC and the GLEAM Pre-K grant? That's a great question. So with me today is Kathy Lang from EEC. She supports EEC's CPPI grant, which for those who may not know is the Commonwealth Preschool Partnership Initiative grant. We work together and have designed the GLEAM preschool program with one another. So those districts that are participating in EEC CPPI may see that a lot of this looks very familiar. GLEAM preschool is intended to help support these districts, offer more funding so that the CPPI work could possibly be expanded, and ensure that there are really strong, improved partnerships between the district and community-based educators. So if you are participating in CPPI, we recommend you apply for GLEAM. You can expand the work to more classrooms and more community partners, and you will have a lot of the legwork already completed because of the work you've done with CPPI. That said, you do not need to be a part of CPPI in order to apply for GLEAM preschool. A copy of the presentation slides will be emailed out to everyone who attended today, and this recording, which will include the visuals, will be posted on the GLEAM website in the coming days. Laura Garcia has a great question. Our middle schools, grades 6 to 8, have HQM in place, so we will be applying to track 2. We're interested in possibly applying for grades 9 to 12, and they do not have HQM in place. Is it possible to apply for track 1 and track 2 for the grades that have needs for specific tracks? That's a really great question. Due to federal regulations, you would have to apply for just one track and one grade band within that. So you could elect to apply for either grades 6 through 8 track 2 or grades 9 through 12 track 1. That appears to be the end of the questions that are in the chat right now. If you would like to come off mute and ask a question, please feel free to. If one pops up while I'm continuing this presentation, again, please feel free to put it in the chat. If one comes to you right after we end, which happens to me all the time, you can feel free to email me or register for office hours as well. On your screen right now, you will see my email address, which is allison.d.pickens@mass.gov. You can email me at that address or the gleam@mass.gov address at any time with questions about GLEAM. I've also included Kathy's email. Like I said, Kathy Lang supports our GLEAM preschool programming, and she works for EEC and can answer questions about CPPI or about EEC's involvement or about community-based partners in a lot of depth. She has a great deal of knowledge. So I've included her email here as well. You can email either of us, both of us, the GLEAM email, however you'd prefer to reach out to us, and we will answer your question and then update the public Q&A so that everyone can see answers to the questions that we receive. I've included again the address to the GLEAM website. This will be updated regularly with information. It is where you will find the RFP to apply for cohort 2. You will find eligibility information, registration to the office hours, the GLEAM video series, and the updated Q&A. Thank you all again for joining us this morning. I know it is hard to step away during the school year, so we truly appreciate it. You will see this recording in the coming days on the GLEAM website, and we encourage you to please email us or visit the GLEAM website with any questions. I will stay on for 2 more minutes to answer any questions for people that may have popped up in our last few moments together. For those of you who may have joined a little bit later on in the session, don't worry, it has been recorded. You will be able to watch all of this and get the information that you need, and you'll be able to return to it as it will be a recording that lives on the website. So thank you again for joining. I will stay on for 1 more moment to answer questions, and I look forward to helping you in your district as you apply for cohort 2. Please feel free to reach out at any time with questions.